Welcome to stop number 3 of the 2016 UCI BMX Supercross World Cup Tour. We are here in Papendal, the Netherlands at the Olympic Training Center, and what a facility we have here to host the third round of the season. Incredible weather has met a great bike festival alongside of the UCI BMX World Cup with a lot of action going on. So it's going to be a great day of racing, and we're excited to bring it to you today live. You can see there was something for everyone here in Papendal, and we get ready as we move on to today's race action. So there it is. That's the big bad track for round number 3 of the UCI BMX World Cup. I'm Pete Deluski. We'll be joined by Jason Richardson later on today from Papendal. It's an incredible day here for racing. The sun is out. Over the past few years, we've had rain. And today, it is perfect conditions. A slight wind, just enough that could throw the riders off later on in the competition, but we will see how things go as we get through the day today. So we'll get you a recap. There's the weather. We'll get you a recap of the 2016 season up to date. But as we said, perfect conditions here for racing on the BMX Supercross World Cup stop, the last one before the World Championships. This is the final qualifier towards the Olympic Games, so this is a very important race for a lot of riders on the circuit. So after 2 rounds, it's been a thrilling 2016 UCI BMX Supercross World Cup season so far. There's a lot on the line for the riders looking to make their way into the 2016 Olympic Games in Rio this summer. The most consistent rider on the World Cup circuit so far has been Caroline Buchanan. She started the season off with a win at the opening round in Santiago del Estero, Argentina. It was an epic battle with her and Mariana Pajon, with Caroline taking the win. When we headed to stop number 2 in Manchester, Great Britain, it was once again Caroline who rode strong all day. Elise Post from the USA was looking to be on track for the win in the main event, with Caroline breathing down her neck the entire lap, but just yards from the finish, Post made a mistake, and Caroline was there to capitalize on it, taking her 2nd World Cup win in a row. Caroline now sits atop the standings with Simone Christensen in 2nd and Mariana Pajon in 3rd. On the men's side, it's been 2 different winners into 2 events. Team USA rider Corbin Sherraw was the rider to take the opening victory in Argentina. After this, at round 2 in Manchester, Liam Phillips has won that event for the past 3 years, and he wanted to make it 4 in a row. But by his own admission, this was a weekend where he wasn't riding up to his potential, but at the end of the day, he was the rider once again to stand atop the men's elite podium with the win. With some new names in the elite men's main event in Manchester, it's going to be an interesting season when we look towards the season's overall rankings. Corbin Sherraw and Nick Long, both from the USA, sit atop, with Kyle Evans in 3rd. Now we're here at round number 3 in Papendal, the Netherlands, the biggest and most technical supercross track on the World Cup Tour. A recent renovation to the track takes away any typical home field advantage for the Dutch team, but the win is on the line. The riders with the most determination, desire, power, and skill can take the win at any given time. The layout here in Papendal is a replica of the Olympic Rio track, so we could be a peek into the future today. We will shortly find out. So there are overall standings for the Supercross as we go into round number 3 with Corbin Sherraw in the lead, Nick Long, and then Kyle Evans in 3rd. We move over to the elite women's side. Caroline Buchanan with a perfect season so far with 2 victories. Simone Christensen sits in 2nd. Mariana Pajon in 3rd, but unfortunately a crash is going to keep her out of racing for today. Let's get a lap around the track here from Barry Nobles as he gives us the course preview as he's following Bodie Turner around the track here in Papendal. Jason, talk us through this 2nd straightaway on the track.
Yeah, as you can see, Bodie looks quite comfortable with the GoPro lap over that double out of the 1st turn. Then into the 2nd turn, step up, large, newly concreted turn, which is different from the asphalt 1st and last turns. Through the rhythm, big step, double, double, step up, then step down into the last corner. Looks a little bit bumpy as well. Older track, or older turn, that is. Bodie shuts it down. You have 2 doubles with a small little roller that comes up on you pretty quick.
So yesterday we had our time trials for the elite men and the elite women, and as we said before, Caroline Buchanan's been on a tear so far this year, and it was no difference yesterday. She went around the track in her single rider run super final time trial, and she had the best lap of the day, edging out the United States of America's Elise Post right at the finale, and Caroline would go on to take the fastest lap in the elite women's class. When we move over to the elite men, there's only been one racer who's been atop the podium in these time trial finales so far this year. The young Canadian Tori Nyhog has been on a tear on the time trials, turning into a TT specialist, and yesterday was no different as he went around the track at a blistering speed early on in the program, and he went out there and set the benchmark, and no one was able to surpass Tori as he went out and took the overall victory. So here's that track here, and Jason noted incredible runs, and we will get to see some of the racing going on as we'll give you a recap of earlier racing from today. In the first moto group of the day, it was going to be a good race with Anthony Dean, Trent Jones, Tori Nyhog. They were all out there battling, but as you see right here, Nyhog gets a little bit crooked and goes into Trent Jones, crashes, while Anthony Dean strings the lead out in front of the pack, and he had a great day, and he's continued on through that program, qualifying through. So Anthony Dean in this round had Trent Jones come behind him and then Kronk. But right here, you can just see the great run from Anthony Dean. He would move on to the day. Nick Kidman, who had also go down on the first turn, our current world champion, would move on. Trent Jones and Tori Nyhog would recover from that crash and make his way through. Group number 2, these riders, again, another stacked race, and you see number 7, Sam Willoughby, a big name on the circuit, and you know why? Look at the lead that he carries in this first run of motos. He pretty much put a stamp on the race from the get-go, out in front with Alfredo Campo and Ezequiel Torres trying to hunt him down, but as you can see here, no one was able to keep up with the young Australian Sam Willoughby. Just a picture-perfect day. He went on to win all 3 of his qualifying rounds, which transferred him into today's quarterfinal, along with Alfredo Campo, Damien Godet, and Ezequiel Torres. Those were the 4 riders that transferred in these qualification rounds. 3 runs, lowest 4 in points, move on, and once we get to that racing later, it will be single elimination. Next up, our star-studded cast here included our current time trialist, world champion Joris Daudet from France. And again, he was out there looking to put all the riders behind him, and you can see right here, going to turn number 1, number 33 in the race. Joris Daudet was in front of Harmensen, the local here from the Netherlands, but Joris rode this track perfect, just as he did each and every other lap for the rest of the day, making his way through the transfer system. So it was a good run there for Joris, as well as Campo, Aquindo, and Harmensen. They all went on to transfer through today's racing action. So perfect day there for our time trialist world champion, but today it's all about 8 riders at a time on the track. So then we move over to the elite women's groups. Again, some stacked groups of the world's fastest riders. And normally we would see Caroline Buchanan have the best start, but right there, a little bit of a case threw her off. She wasn't able to jump the first jump, but who did? Her countrywoman, Lauren Reynolds. She went out there and really made a good run. Merle Van Bentham was in the second spot, chasing her all the way around the track, and you can see Caroline Buchanan in the back in the green was trying to make her way through the pack, but in moto number 1 it wasn't going to happen because Lauren Reynolds was on fire. Van Bentham was charged from the crowd's cheerings as she was trying to make that last-ditch effort to pass Lauren around the track, but she knew all she needed to do was be consistent to make her way through the program, and they did. Lauren Reynolds and Marilee Van Bentham both made their way through, as well as Caroline Buchanan came back to win the next 2 rounds, and she would transfer on into single elimination racing. Then the last rack of motos here with the elite women. Again, some of the fastest riders in the world on the gate, and this time it was the national champion for the United States of America, Elise Post, who had the fastest run down the first straight. She was going to have Manon Valentino from France just behind her, and then Melinda McLeod was going to keep them all honest as they would all move on in that program in moto number 1. The first run for 3 times around the track for these elite women, so definitely good racing here, and you would see some good runs here. Elise Post would be consistent with the first, second, first. She would make her way through the motos, and she would take Brooke Crane, Manon Valentino, and Bois. They would all transfer on. Unfortunately for McLeod, her good run here ended, but Elise Post will be making it on in the program later today. So that brings us to the single elimination racing for the elite men. And again, it's just a who's who of BMX, Jason.
Yeah, the crowd is really deep. I mean, there's so much talent on the gate, and in both the men and women's fields that, you know, it's really hard to call a winner.
So quarterfinal number 1, Alfredo Campo, Anthony Dean, Liam Phillips, Jeff Upshaw, Renato Rezende, Kleshenko, Rancule, and Renault Blanc. Those riders made up a quarterfinal, and that was definitely one of the most stacked races that I've seen in quite some time. Liam Phillips, our current champion from 2015. Anthony Dean's been riding strong all day long. Renault Blanc coming off a great finish at stop number 2. Renato Rezende making his comeback from injury. Kleshenko, one of the strong Russian riders, coming out of nowhere. Alfredo Campos, definitely consistent on the track. Jeff Upshaw, a star rising from the United States of America, longtime racer. Great to see him on this Supercross circuit. So as they load into the gate, quarterfinals, simple. You need to get top 4 to move on in the program, Jason.
That's right. 4th or better, and if you're 5th or 8th, then you're going home. I'd look for Upshaw to be making some moves in the corners. He is getting much faster down the first straight, and they're off. Looks like Dean off to a good start. Looks like Liam Phillips might have gotten out ahead of him, but Dean looks to have the inside line, and Liam Phillips with an overjump. There goes Upshaw in that corner, shutting Liam Phillips down. Looks like Liam is shut down. I don't think he's going to make it. Upshaw shuts Liam down, then he doesn't get through the pro section. Meanwhile, Dean and Blanc and Rezende are your top 3 coming out of this second corner over this big step up. Looks like Dean has a pretty commanding lead with Blanc in 2nd. Rezende moving to 4th with Rencarel in 3rd now. Dean, Blanc, Rencarel, and Rezende. Well, that'll be how it finishes for the quarter, and they will be moving on to the semi.
So yeah, those top 4 move on in the program. Unfortunately for our current overall champion, Liam Phillips, he's not moving on. Neither is Jeffrey Upshaw. Had a great day going, but Anthony Dean secures his way, and you can see right here from the start, Dean gets out good, and it just all went wrong for Liam Phillips in that turn. Someone just snuck under him, stuck him a little bit high, but no issues here for number 44, Anthony Dean from Australia, as he made his way around the track with the victory here in quarterfinal number 1. So we'll get ready for quarterfinal number 2 for the elite men. Same deal. There's your official results from that race. Dean, Blanc, Rancule, and Rezende move on. Unfortunately, Kleshenko, Campo, Upshaw, and Phillips have to sit back in the stands and enjoy the view of the same view that we've got here for the rest of the day's racing.
That's right, that's right. So second quarter, Willoughby, Vandenberg, Graf, Harmsen, Bretthauer, Tremanis, Kriegers, and Nyhog. I wouldn't want to call this right now. This is definitely what we would call a heater. A lot of fast guys, a lot of guys with results in this semi. Willoughby, past world champion. He's been known to win here before. Nyhog, time trial specialist. He won the time trial yesterday. And then Tremanis, always known to be strong. And Graf is very consistent as well with a great finish at the Worlds last year. Yeah,
Tori Nyhog finding his way back into this race while Sam Willoughby, number 7, right there on the inside. He's been out front all day. So as we get ready for quarterfinal number 2, let's see the top 4, who will transfer on and who can become a semifinalist here, hoping to look their way into the main event.
Riders ready, watch the gate.
So as the gate goes down from the inside, it looks like it's going to be Willoughby with a good gate, but Nyhog is out there as well. Jason, take us through the rest of this lap.
Yeah, Nyhog looking to have a great start, but Willoughby just had all the power straight down the inside. He comes out of the first turn in front. Nyhog gets thrown off the track. I'm not sure if that was Graf or Bretthauer, but we have Willoughby and Graf, and then we have Bretthauer in 3rd, the German. So Willoughby's been riding strong. He's won 3 motos. Looks like he's so far, so good. He's winning this quarter. And Graf, consistent, always on point. And Bretthauer in 3rd. Looks like we have Kriegers in 4th. Not sure with his countrymen fighting him for 5th. So Willoughby, Graf, Bretthauer, Kriegers with Tremanis in the photo finish. I believe Kriegers might have beat him out, though.
Yeah, so quarterfinal number 2. Again, interesting to see. Unfortunately for Tori Nyhog, he was riding strong, but as you see in the first turn, he has an elbow in his face the whole way out. He got out from the outside, but right there, it was Dave Vandenberg who had pushed him outside off the track. You can't do much when you're in the grass. And what you can do a lot of is take the huge lead, and that was what Sam Willoughby did out there in front. He had David Graf behind him. Louis Bretthauer making a good surge in 3rd, and then right at the line, Tremanis beats out Kriegers for that 4th and final qualifying position. So we'll see the official results list. Willoughby, Graf, Bretthauer, and Tremanis, they all move on. Unfortunately, Dave Vandenberg.
He had a move going in that first turn, but I think he might have been over concerned with Nyhog, and that kind of didn't work out for him. And Brett Howard was able to capitalize.
Yeah, it seems like it didn't work out for anyone. So here we go with quarterfinal number 3. Joris Daudet on fire all day. Sylvain Andre, Ezekiel Torres, Jones, Milano, Peluard, Komarov, and Juster. Again, another stacked quarterfinal here at the UCI BMX Supercross World Cup.
Yeah, we have 3 Frenchmen in this one. I don't think we'll see any country love, that's for sure, because I know they all want to get to that semi and eventually the main event. Joris Daudet has been known to have a very strong first straight. I was talking to his trainer early today, and he's got this little trick where he kind of pedals up the lip a little bit on that first jump. So I don't know if he'll do that this lap, but either way, he's been consistent as evidenced by his first lane choice, and he picks lane 1 because that would probably give him the best chance for the whole shot in this lap. So as we get ready, they're going to come out of the gate strong. Looks like Andre might have had a little bit of a jump on Daudet. Daudet got a little bit crooked, but then he just lays down the power, gets those long legs moving into the first corner. A little bit of an overjump, but it doesn't matter. He is in control of this race. Daudet, Andre, Juster, top 3 heading into the second quarter. They're going to hit this step up. Looks like Andre had a little bit of traffic. Juster trying to secure his position, trying to get up on Andre, but then Daudet over that step. A little bit of a different line with Andre in that rhythm section is pretty cool to see. And Juster, and it looks like 4th place will be the Russian. So again, Andre was showing some different lines in the rhythm, so it'll be Daudet, Andre, Juster, and Komarov. Komarov also riding really strong this weekend, showing a lot of promise down that first straight.
Yeah, Joris Daudet came across that line. He still won. You can see right here, he came from the inside lane 1, had a good start, and there was a little bit of traffic going down that first straightaway. Comes out with the lead. He makes a few small mistakes, and Joris Daudet, he's our current time trial world champion. He's all about perfection. Just one small mistake, he was still out there with the lead. You can see right there, off balance a little bit, and he didn't get through that last straightaway perfectly. You can see right there, shakes his head, but he still won, and he makes his way into today's semifinal. So here's your official results. Daudet, Andre, Juster, and Komarov, a definitely good result there for the Russian. Unfortunately, again, 5th through 8th, their day's done. Vincent Peluard had a strong run at the last race. Today, his race ends early. So we'll get ready for quarter-final number 4. Again, Maris STROMBERGS riding. He's a double Olympic champion. Carlos Ramirez, Villegas, Godet, Schmidt, Schirra, Aquindo, and our current world champion, Nick Kidman from right here in the Netherlands. It's going to be a good race to see who can make it through. Corbin Schirra is our current points leader. He's been riding strong as well so far this year. But right there, the gold lenses for the golden boy of BMX.
Yeah, Stromberg's 2-time gold medalist. Schirra, he's been known to win a couple of World Cups himself, and then Nick Kidman, winning from lane 8 here last year, and then also a world champion in his own right. I mean, just those 3 alone, I'm sure, have the rest of the field on this gate kind of shaking in their boots. And let's not forget the Colombian, who known to make those moves. I believe that's Ramirez, the magician. So this will be a good race to definitely test the will of Schirra and Maris, as these guys are known to have good first straight. So we'll see if they meet up in that first corner and what happens.
Riders ready, watch the gate.
They're off. Stromberg looks to have a really strong start, but Schirra was the one out front, but Maris is definitely making his way through. He kind of forced the issue, and Schirra just kind of backed off a little bit. Looks like Schirra might be in trouble if he doesn't get over this pro section here. Stromberg's riding a really commanding race. Looks like we have Oquendo in second with Kieman in third. So now we have Stromberg's Oquendo, Olympic medalist himself, Kieman, and Schirra in fourth, possibly fifth, because the magician just slid in there. So we have Stromberg's, Oquendo, Kieman, and Ramirez will be the top 4. What a disappointing finish for Schirra, leading points and ending up with 5th in the quarter, so he will not move on. Yeah,
that little magician Carlos Ramirez made some moves down that third straightaway to get to the inside, but it all started here. Maris STROMBERGS, what a strong start. You see Nick Kidman, our current world champion, right there in third, and it was when Schirra's race went bad. He got pushed a little bit high by Oquendo in turn number 1, came out. That's when Kieman passed him, and then right at the line, unfortunately, he's going to have to settle for that 5th. And those are the way things go sometimes on the BMX Supercross World Cup Tour. But there's your official qualifying list. Stromberg, Oquendo, Kidman, and Ramirez, they all move on in the elite men's semifinal. And now we make it all about the women of BMX Supercross as we head into their semifinals for the day. It's going to be interesting. Top 4 here as well move on into that main event. And the rest their day is done. So as we said, a lot on the line here for a lot of riders. There's Olympic selection still going on for countries as well as individual riders. So it'll be interesting to see who can break through today. It's the last World Cup before we go into the World Championships. And here's our start list for semifinal number 1. Caroline Buchanan, Marilee Van Bentham, Brooke Crane, Simone Christensen, Bois, Smulders, Carr, and Van Hoof. Those are the 8 ladies that make their way into today's semifinal for the elite women.
Yeah, I was talking to a few trainers and some of the ladies out there. I think the biggest concern for some of the ladies on the track here is not necessarily the track. It's the wind. I mean, the gentlemen carry a little bit more weight and a little more speed, so they hit these jumps with more momentum. We all know that's important, and some of these women are really at their limit, and the wind is affecting them. So I think what we'll see is a few of these ladies jumping the first and second jumps, maybe even the third, and a few probably pulling brake as they're heading to them, just because the wind is such an inconsistent thing here. Sometimes it comes down and then it gusts up. So we'll see. There goes Amanda Carr there, getting ready, getting into character for her semifinal run. Smulders waving at the crowd, her home crowd, that is. Then we have Bao. She's been very consistent all weekend. Seems to be promoting her helmet and seems to be quite relaxed sitting back. And then we have Christensen, Simone Christensen, who's very consistent as well. Always a main maker, good for podiums. So this is going to be a good race. On to Brooke Crane. Insane Brooke Crane, they call her, from the USA. Spitting out her tongue at the world, having a little bit of fun. And then another local hero, Marilee Van Bentham, gate 2. Always positive, nice smile waving to the crowd and the camera. And then our time trial winner and winner of the last 2 events, Caroline Buchanan, blowing a kiss to the crowd, and she's ready to do business here.
So semifinal number 1 for the elite women is loaded in the gate. Top 4 make their way into that main event. Again, a lot on the line for these women, and as well as not just the overall for this series, but bigger things, and we'll see what happens as they are loaded in the gate. Caroline Buchanan has that red plate. She has the overall lead. Marilee Van Bentham next to her will have the crowd behind her, and we will see who else can rise to the occasion. Could it be Van Hoof? Could it be Bois? We will find out. Here we go with semifinal number 1 for the elite women.
Riders ready, watch the gate.
Caroline looks to be off to a good start. Van Bentham didn't get the best start, but Brooke Crane, nice start as well, just edging out. Oh, takes her foot off. I think the wind might have gotten to her a little bit. She's in trouble. Brooke Crane sitting in 5th. Bao with a dive going into 2nd. I believe that's Van Bentham in 2nd. We have Buchanan going into the 2nd turn. Van Bentham and Van Hoof in 3rd. It's definitely shaken up to be. They're spreading out a little bit in this 3rd straight. Caroline pulls away, Van Bentham, Van Hoof, and then that battle for 4th. We'll see if Brooke Crane can get Bao, but it doesn't look like that might be the case. It's going to be a close finish with Buchanan, Van Bentham, Van Hoof, and Bao. Crane just missing out.
A lot of action down that first straightaway. Unfortunately, the younger of the Smulders sisters didn't have the gate she wanted. Neither did Christensen or Carr. And Christensen's been so consistent, but you can see right there, pinched off down that first straightaway. A lot of moving went through that turn. Out front, Caroline Buchanan had no issues, but it was Marilee Van Bentham who was looking to make a good run, and she got through the track. Caroline Buchanan taking the victory here in semifinal number 1. Marilee Van Bentham, Elke Van Hoof, and Bois will be your top 4 qualifiers. Brooke Crane just misses out, as well as Smulders, Christensen, and Carr. So that was semifinal number 1 for the elite women, which will bring us over to the next semifinal. So we have half of our main event already picked. We'll take the top 4 from this semifinal to meet up with those women, and here is your official start list. Elise Post, Laura Smulders, Manon Valentino, Axel Etienne, Bondarenko, Marie Diaz, and Reynolds. Some of the biggest names in the sport are in here. Elise Post has been on fire, riding really strong. She definitely wants to make up from that mistake she had in Manchester, leading the main event all the way to the line, having a crash just yards from the finish. She definitely has that on her mind, but she's put that in the past and she wants to make her way through. Valentino and Marie, they're looking to make comebacks from injury, and we'll start out there in lane 8 with Lauren Reynolds. She's been riding strong, just coming off a victory in the United States last weekend. Lauren Reynolds looks to keep that consistency rolling here today in Papendal. Next to her, one of the veterans of the elite women's class, Gabrielle Diaz. She's looking to put her name stamped into that main event final. Can she do it? We will see. Marie from France, one of the young and upcomers, definitely looking to make her way through the semifinal. Could it happen? We will find out soon. Bondarenko from Russia, another one of the Russian stars rising. Today she can put herself into that main event if she's in that top 4. Axel ETIENNE, our current junior world champion. She moved up to the elite class this year. Let's see what she can do. Next to her, her countrywoman, Manon Valentino, coming back from a big injury. She's looking strong, and today, could she do it? The local here, Laura Smulders from the Netherlands. You can hear the crowd going crazy for her. An Olympic medalist from London. Today, she just wants to make her way into that main event. And so far, our fastest woman in this semifinal, Elise Post, number 11 from the United States of America, wants to make her way into that main event and meet up with Caroline Buchanan for another head-to-head battle. Can she do it? We'll find out soon as we get ready to drop the gate here in Papendal, the Netherlands, for stop number 3 of the UCI BMX Supercross World Cup Tour. Elite Women's Semifinal number 2. Here we go. Top 4 will make their way into today's main event to meet up with Buchanan, Van Bentham, Van Hoof, and Bois. Let's see which women can do it as we get ready to start the race.
It'll be interesting to see if Elise or Lauren jump the first, not only the first jump, but the jump into the first turn. Lauren Reynolds has been, that was kind of been her claim to fame all day and all throughout the week, was getting into that first turn and just hitting those jumps. The wind doesn't seem to affect her as much. Elise Post as well, gonna go for it, and that's how she won here a few years ago. She just hit that big triple into the first turn and passed into first. So I think Elise is relatively comfortable on this track, definitely down this first straight.
So the gate goes down, and Elise Post seems to have a good start. Next to her is Smulders. They're going to be battling all the way down into turn number 1 and look for the elbows to rise. And just as Jason said, Elise jumps into that first turn. Lauren Reynolds is stuck in the back, Jason.
That's right. Elise Post taking a commanding lead with Smulders. Smulders actually had a decent gate, but Elise just had that drive to jump into that first turn. So here they come out of this second turn. Looks like Post, it's hers for the taking if she wants it. Oh, no! Looks like we have a bit of England-Manchester coming back. Post goes down, Reynolds goes down. They trip up in that rhythm section, and then it's Smulders, Valentino. Valentino been consistent, and Mayer in third, with Diaz, the vet, in fourth. So that's going to be how it goes down. Valentino looks very pleased with her performance. So Smulders, Valentino, Mayer, and Diaz will be going on to the main. What a disappointing semi for Reynolds and Post, huh?
Yeah, 2 of the biggest names right there. You saw them go down. It was basically one after the other. And unfortunately for them, I mean, Elise Post, you always want to get the whole shot in that main event. And look at her. She takes it upstairs into turn number 1. She looked to have it in command here, Jason, but coming out of this turn, how did it go wrong?
I don't know what happened. I was talking to her trainer earlier. She definitely was concerned about that third straight, but she'd been riding it good. She just got a little bit crooked over that, rolling up that step. That is not normally a problem area for it. Maybe there was a gust of wind that kind of caught her front tire and just blew her sideways. But either way, it was not the way she planned it, I'm sure. And Lauren Reynolds is, I don't know if she was caught up in it or caught up by the wind her own self, but you know, we're seeing those 2 girls who normally in the main picking themselves up off the track, so it's quite a disappointment for today, but it looks like they're riding off and they'll live to fight another day.
Yeah, so Lauren Reynolds coming off that huge victory in the United States of America last week. Unfortunately, that's not going to help her make her way into the main event. It was going to be her and Post, 2 of the biggest names, as Jason said. Both will not be in today's main event. That's a shocker. But what is incredible is Laura Smulders was able to do it in front of her hometown. Manon Valentino, coming back from injury, makes her way through. Marie, this is her first main event, I believe, so definitely great. And Gabrielle Diaz, no stranger to the main events, but it's been quite some time. But it's exciting to see that she'll be in the main event here for stop number 3 in Papendal, the Netherlands, of the UCI BMX World Cup. So now we'll make our way over to the elite men's side of things, Jason, for those semifinals. It's going to be interesting because we know that the top riders have made their way into it. And here's start list number 1. Sam Willoughby, Carlos Aquindo, Joris Daudet, Carlos Ramirez, Louis Breathauer, Renault Blanc, Renato Resende, and Juster from Australia. Those will be the 8 riders in semifinal number 1. Exciting to see these guys go.
Make or break round, let me tell you. This is definitely a nail-biter. And walking up behind that hill, I'm sure these riders were looking to be as focused as they can and just trying to stay as composed as they can, trying to be poised and ready. But it's, you know, this is a big stage, and when you get on top of that hill, even if the wind's not blowing, you feel everything up there, and it just feels like sometimes you're up there by yourself. But you know, this is a I would say a classic Supercross track in that it was one of the first ones, one of the earlier ones, and you know, winning here, you know, any Supercross win is big, but it seems like winning here is kind of a rite of passage, so to speak, and something you can put on the resume for sure. Something at the top of the resume. So
we have a little bit of an issue up on the gate, and we're actually going to run semi number 2 on the reverse order. It's still those riders, but just so you're not confused, semi number 2's up there. So we had a flat tire with someone in semi number 1, so we'll jump into semi number 2. Same, it's going to be, again, a great, you know, we had that list up for you. It was the correct riders: Daudet, Willoughby, Blanc, Ramirez, Juster, Rosende, Oquindo, and Breathauer. But sometimes that's the nature of this sport, Jason, and anything can happen. And
you know, mechanical errors do happen. Sometimes you get a thorn just, you know, riding around in the pits or trying to cool down. So it's nice that the officials are kind enough to give people that time to make the adjustments and you know, get on the gate. That's what good sportsmanship's all like. Brett Howard getting ready. We have Carlos Ramirez, the magician, focused with those mirrored lenses. I'm sure he's ready to make some moves. Joris Daudet, he might have shook his head as he was winning the semi, and that's probably because he knew that a couple of those mistakes might have cost him lane choice, as we see him in lane 3, not 1. Then we have Oquendo, Carlos Oquendo, so he's no stranger to making mains. Olympic medalist in his own right. He's been around the block a few times, and he's next to Sam Willoughby. Sam Willoughby, champ, has not lost a lap all day, so this is definitely going to be a very great race.
So as we said, Sam Willoughby riding strong all day. Can he do it? Joris Daudet's been riding incredible too. Renault Blanc, Ramirez, Resende, Oquindo, Breathauer, and Juster. Let's see who the top 4 go through to today's main event. Here we go with the semifinal.
Riders ready, watch the gate.
So from the inside, Sam Willoughby looks to have a strong start. Joris Daudet's right there next to him. They're going to battle it all the way into turn 1. You always want to be on the inside.
Looks like Willoughby took that extra pedal into that first turn and said, "No, Joris, I'm gonna lead this one out." But Joris is still giving him some heat, staying close, filing in. Definitely don't want to leave too much room for any errors. They're riding very strong, very fast. Looks like Willoughby, Daudet. Looks like that is Blanc in third. Blanc in third. Oh, almost with a little bit of a case in that rhythm section, and the magician getting around in fourth. So we have Willoughby, Daudet, Willoughby, Blanc, and Ramirez, the magician, just getting through.
Well, his magic pulled off again. He made the main event here 2 years ago, and he's in it once again. That's a great result for Carlos Ramirez. But Joris Daudet and Sam Willoughby, what a battle down that first straightaway.
That was a battle. I mean, Joris definitely has the heat down the first straight, and I think Sam just had positioning and a little bit more heart. You know, sometimes you really don't want to back off too much, because if you do that and file in and just let the other guy go thinking you're going to play it safe, you have 3 other guys swooping underneath you. So Sam was smart to fight him to that first turn, because at least there was only 1 guy that got around him rather than 3.
So there's half our main event for the elite men has been chosen. Daudet, Willoughby, Blanc, and Ramirez. And semi-final number 1, but it'll run second, it's going to be Maris STROMBERGS, David Graff, Sylvain Andre, Anthony Dean, Edzis Treimanis, Komarov, Rencule, and then Nick Kidman, the world champion from right here in the Netherlands. Going to be an interesting race. Last year, it was his first full season as an elite male, and he started from lane 8. He won that main event the first time, and he made it. And he also went on later that year to win the rainbow stripes you see on his jersey, as he's our current world champion in elite men. Next to him would be Jeremy Rencule from France, another incredible French riders looking to make his way through in today's program. Gate number 6 gives us Komarov from Russia, one of the powerhouses in the sport, coming up as of late. Edsis Tremanis, again, no stranger to making the main event here. He was on the podium just a few seasons ago when we had the race here. Can he do it today? From Australia, Anthony Dean, coming back from a big injury, broke his collarbone, had it pinned, actually had some complications, had to go back in, and today he's in the semifinal. Sylvain Andre, one of the biggest names from France currently, he's there in gate number 3. Gate number 2 gives us David Graf, number 3 in his plate, 3rd place at those World Championships. Can he continue that streak of great races? We will find out. And here is the man, the machine, number 81, 2-time Olympic gold medalist from Latvia, Maris STROMBERGS from the inside. He looked to start the day off a little bit slow, but ever since then, he's been on fire. Let's see if STROMBERGS can continue those fast laps as we make our way into that main event. But watch for Nick Kidman to come on from the outside in lane 8. Here we go with the start for semifinal for the elite men.
Roll of the wrist from Stromberg, getting ready. And they're off. Looks like Stromberg has that great 1, 2, 3. Dean has a good start on the outside, but Maris just hooking up those pedals after the first and second jump. Dean still staying there for second, making sure Graf doesn't get it underneath him. Graf is still fighting some people, fighting for third. Looks like Tremanis might have scooped up into third into that second turn. So we have Strombergs, Dean, and Tremanis going into this big step up down the third straight. Strombergs, nice lead, couple bike lengths. Looks like Dean has some space between him. Graf getting in there for the third, says fourth is not comfortable enough. Tremanis is still in fourth, so we have Strombergs, Dean, Graf, and Tremanis for your top 4. Andre, Komarov, and Renkarel will have to sit it out and wait till the next time.
Yeah, unfortunately for Nick Kidman, our current world champion, things went bad for him. He got a good start. You can see he's starting in lane 8. He got stuck up high. David Graf comes underneath him. They bump, and he goes off the track, pretty much ending his day. And you can see right there, Tremanis in third. What a battle it was for that 4th place spot between Komarov, Andre, and Tremanis. And Tremanis had a good run down that third straightaway, but coming to the line, it was Maris STROMBERGS, the fastest lap of the day. Anthony Dean in second, David Graf, and then Tremanis gets that last qualification spot. So that will make our main event stacked for the elite men. STROMBERGS, Dean, Graf will meet up with Daudet, Willoughby, Blanc, and Ramirez. It's going to be a barn burner when we get to that main event, Jason.
Yeah, it'll be a great race. And you know, it's interesting, even with the ladies, it's, you know, we have a few people who are normally in the main, not in the main. Diaz getting in the main. I think she's really fighting for a couple of those last Olympic spots. So this will be good for her to put some points on the board. And then, you know, SMULDERS, she's been consistent top 3, but hasn't really had that win just yet. So this could be a breakthrough race for her. And then on the men's side, you know, Strombergs, I mean, clearly looking like he's ready to peak come Worlds and come Rio time. And here he is, like you said earlier, he had a rough, I think maybe second moto, but then after that he flipped the switch and he's just been laying the hammer down the first straight and getting himself in front and staying out of trouble. Dean, consistent as always, you know, just nails in these quarters and semis, getting in those, making these big mains, waiting for him to break through with that win. And then Willoughby, of course, another champion in his own right, looking to you know, he hasn't lost a lap all day, and this main, I could only imagine how much horsepower is in that gate, because I'm sure they're going to all be going for it. And, you know, this is interesting because this track, you know, it's wide open, it's fast, and you know, a lot of track, while lane 1 is somewhat of an advantage, Kieman did win here from lane 8 last year. Strombergs did win here one year from lane 8. It is possible to get that first straight and to get to the first turn first from the outside at this track. So that's going to make it very interesting in both of these main events.
So now we have a short break as the riders are recovering, Jason. They just raced that semifinal. What's going through their minds as they're getting ready to go up? We start with the elite women. They've had a little bit of a break. We had that issue with the flat tire in semifinal number 1 for the men, so it's a little bit of a delay, but now the elite women are making their way up the hill. What's going through their minds as they're climbing up to that start ramp to load into the gate for today's main event?
You know, it's interesting you mentioned them, you know, taking that short break, recovering from the semi to the main event. Sometimes you're just focused on recovering, and there's not enough time to even think about the next race. You just want to recover, bring that heart rate down, so that you can race the next race. I know that, you know, when I used to be on the circuit, they ran these things kind of fast, or at least it felt that way when you're out there racing and you just finished a lap. you do 110% and then you got to go back up. But as you're walking up behind that hill, especially for the main event, you know, some of the riders feel a little bit of relief because maybe that was their goal to get to the main event, while the others are still feeling that pressure. You know, it's kind of like that pressure valve because they're there to win. They're there to get that top 3, and the only way to do that is to do it in the main event. So, again, if you're really focused, you're walking up that ramp, you're just trying to keep your heart rate down, focus on what you can do, what you can control, and then, you know, the only other factor is picking that lane, which I've seen that mess with some riders, and other riders seem to like it. But at the end of the day, it's, you know, leave on red, go as fast as you can, get backside, and move to the inside before you get to the first turn.
Yeah, so the riders get to pick their gate position by the way they finished in those semifinals. So there is an advantage for getting the victory in each of these races. And here's that start list as we talked about these riders in today's main event. Caroline Buchanan, Laura Smulders, Awa, Van Bentham, Valentino, Marie Diaz. It's going to be interesting. We have 3 girls from here in the Netherlands. So you know the crowd's going to go wild. And there they are. They're loaded in the gate, starting on the outside. As Jason said, you could win from this track on any lane. Elke van Hoof, our current European women's overall champion, looking to make her way into the top 3 position today. Can she do so? Next to her, Gabrielle Diaz from Argentina. We were just down there for the opening round of the year. Gabrielle Diaz has been on this circuit since 2006. So she's been one of those women around for a really long time, and she's made her way into the main event. 777, Marie from France, I believe this is her first main event, so she's got to be excited, but now she can go out there and take it all. Can she do it? Number 971 from France as well, coming back, looking pretty relaxed, has a message for her mom on the gate.
I think she might have even said happy, you know, it's for my mom, so that's real sweet. Definitely she's lightening up the mood up there. Van Bentham coming out of lane 4, straight out the middle. Hear the crowd cheering for her, so I'm sure she wants to put on a good show for her home country. Then we have Bao waving to the crowd, kind of sitting back, relaxed. Again, waving that number 1 to the crowd.
So definitely a good spot for her to start out of lane number 3. Lane number 2, Laura Smulders. You're going to hear the crowd go crazy when they announce her name. And there they go. She could be the spoiler today because right now, Caroline Buchanan, she started off slow. She had a bad first lap, but since then, she's won everything. She's done that all year long so far, won every single lap out there. So let's see if Caroline Buchanan can make it 3 for 3 in the 2016 UCI BMX Supercross World Cup Tour. The crowd is crazy. They're getting ready. We're ready. Here we go with the main event for the elite women here in Papendal for stop number 3, the UCI BMX World Cup Tour.
This is going to be good.
Riders ready, watch the gate.
Looks like they're off to a clean start. Smulders with a little bit of a pop. Buchanan trying to get those pedals and sneak up on him. We have Elke van Hoof coming out from lane 8, but Buchanan just sends it over that big triple into the first turn, saying, I want to win. I'm going to make this a 3-peat. So she's jumping over into the second corner, keeping it smooth. Riding actually a little bit tense in my opinion because she knows what's at stake. So we have Buchanan, Smulders, and Valentino. Valentino's just going to be over the moon with a top 3 finish. I know France will be. This will be a great finish for her, but Buchanan keeping it conservative, staying inside, getting some pressure from Smulders. Crowd's going crazy, so we do have a race, but it looks like Smulders got Buchanan, Valentino, Bao, and Mare for the 5th, Van Hoof with 6. So that was an amazing race. You know, like I said earlier, looked like Buchanan was riding a little tight. She definitely wanted to win, but aware.
So right at the line, Laura Smulders takes the victory away from Caroline Buchanan. You see right here, Buchanan has a great lead in turn number 1. Smulders is stalking her around the track. She is from right here. She knows that track well, but as Jason said, it looked like Caroline was riding a little timid right here down that last straightaway. Caroline didn't pedal to the line, Smulders did, and she becomes the victor here today for the main event for elite women. Laura Smulders from here in the Netherlands takes the victory just ahead of Caroline Buchanan, taking her overall victory sweep away. Laura Smulders with the win, Buchanan in second, and then Madden Valentino, an incredible result from the woman coming back from injury, taking third. But right now it's all about Laura Smulders in front of the hometown country, taking the victory here today at the UCI BMX Supercross World Cup in Holland. Great run there for Laura Smulders, number 110. So we're going to get a word with our champion of the day here in just a moment. But right now, she's just got to be ecstatic for taking the victory here from at the UCI BMX Supercross World Cup. A great result for her, Laura Smulders. She hasn't had the best season to date, but this will make up all for it. With just 5 stops on the World Cup, taking a victory is a big thing. And today she has done so here right in her home country, making it even more important and more special for her, I'm sure. So there is your official results from the women's elite main. Laura Smulders, Caroline Buchanan, Manon Valentino, top 3. Bois, Marie, Van Hooth, Van Bentham, and then Diaz round out the main event for these elite women. So with just 1 race left, an incredible riding so far. Laura Smulders does it in front of her hometown crowd. I'm not sure if that's going to be the same case for the elite men, but right now it's all about Laura Smulders, edging out Caroline Buchanan for that win. Manon Valentino in that 3rd place spot, and you can see the crowd are on their feet, giving her a standing ovation for the victory here today in the elite women's main event at the UCI BMX Supercross World Cup. So we're making our way down to the finishing zone to get a word in with today's champion, Laura Smulders. We'll get to hear her experience as she lets us know how things went for her today. But so far, an incredible run for the Dutch riders here. A lot of the elite men have been injured.
Yeah, so here we are with today's winner of elite women, Laura Smulders. Take us down that last straight. You worked hard for that.
Oh, well, I saw I had a chance. I had more speed on the 3rd straight. And, well, I've known this track for a long time, and that last straight has been there since the beginning. So I've practiced it a lot, and I just felt I could do it. And I just passed her on the finish line, and it feels amazing.
I bet. Well, I know the crowd went crazy, and they're happy to see you win. Congratulations.
Thanks. Thanks to the crowd, too. Dankjewel.
So an ecstatic Laura Smulders takes the victory today here in the elite women's main event. So that leaves us just 1 more race to go. That will be the elite men's main event. And again, it's going to be exciting. Let's get ready to see Strombergs, Daudet, Willoughby, Dean, Blanc, Ramirez, Graf, and TREIMANIS. Those are the 8 riders in today's elite men's main event. So we will not have 2 Dutch riders taking the victory here today, but we'll see which one of these riders can edge each other out. So far, Strombergs, Willoughby, and Daudet have all been strong all day, so it's going to be a great race from those top 3. Anybody's race, Jason.
It is anybody's race. And Strombergs, Daudet, and Willoughby, I mean, they've gone at it for quite some time over the last few years. So, you know, the interesting thing is Strombergs kind of carries an air about him, a little bit of a mystique, and nobody wants to admit it, but they all know who he is, and especially when he's going fast, everyone's aware of it. So it'll be interesting. Willoughby riding like he has something to prove. I mean, he's not backing down, definitely making it known that he's here to win, and then Daudet is just lighting it up down that 1st straight. So it'll be interesting main.
So as we give the elite men just a little bit, few more moments of preparation before their main event. An exciting race for those elite women. Great racing here in the main events, as well as all day in Papendal, the Netherlands, for the UCI BMX Supercross World Cup Tour. What can we expect? As Jason, you just said, Strombergs, Daudet, and Willoughby, they're all going up there. How can you edge out your competition before you even get in the gate, though, Jason? Is there a way with these 3?
Well, I think they're probably all trying to stay away from each other at this point. You know, unfortunately, I'm not in the circuit as much as I used to be, so I'm an onlooker and a fan myself. There goes Valentino waving to the crowd. She's over the moon. I think I saw a couple of tears stream down her cheek earlier on down there, but what a great performance from her. I mean, she's just been plugging away. 2nd place, Caroline Buchanan, getting the flowers. Always has a smile on her face. It was definitely you know, taking that chance. I mean, she hadn't really jumped into the first turn, jumping that triple step all day, but, you know, it was the main event, and it was really, really awesome that she went for it. And then Smulders, you know, she said she'd ridden that last straight many times, and she's right there at the right time to accept the win, and she believed she could do it. She just felt it, she said. So what a great race from those three.
So as we said, this is the last World Cup before the World Championships, and then later this summer, the Olympic Games. So what a way to put a stamp down on your season leading into those two most prestigious events of this season. And then we don't come back to the World Cup Tour until the end of September for the last 2 rounds. So a little bit of break from the World Cup, but still 2 very important races to go through for the rest of this year before we get to those final 2 rounds.
You know, these Supercross racers, these are big races. Everyone from around the world, I mean, they come a long way to get to these races, and you know, there's only one shot. It's only one race per weekend, and so, you know, there's a title, and there's a title for this World Cup series, and they all want that title. They all want those bragging rights, and to be able to finish off a season strong. So with a few of those ladies not making the main, and then Smulders actually putting a stamp on this one, it'll definitely mix things up heading into Rock Hill and Sarasota for those final 2.
So now, as we said before, we move over to those elite men. We can see they're making their way up the start ramp. They're getting ready to load in the gate, and there's your start list. Strombergs, 2-time Olympic champion. Sam Willoughby, 2-time world champion. Joris Daudet, past world champion in race format, as well as time trial world champion. Anthony Dean, one of those big stars. He hasn't got that victory on the World Cup Tour yet, but he's looking, and he's been on that podium, getting some great results overall. Ramirez, the little magician, has made the mains event before. He would love to get on that podium. David Graff, 3rd place at the World Championships last year. He wants to be back up there. He knows he can do it. Edzis Tremanis has also been on the podium before, and we start with him out in lane 8, Jason.
Yeah, Tremanis in lane 8. At the end of the day, he's not getting cut off, that's for sure. So if he can get a decent gate and a clean line into that first corner, I'm sure he's going to be hoping to at least get a top 3. Next to him, Renaud Blanc. He had a 3rd place in Manchester. Here he is consistent, making the main again. You know, next to his countryman, David Graff. David Graff with the BMX and mountain biking pedigree. So smart rider, always has a great attitude. Taking that last deep breath, bring that heart rate down, get focused. Next to him, Carlos Ramirez, the magician. So he's ready to go. Got the mirrored lenses, doing those last-minute twitches. Everyone's kind of shaking the bugs out, doing their superstitious things to kind of get into character and do this race and be able to do what they know they can do. Dean getting in there, just getting clipped in. Daudet ready. Last bit of a glove adjustment, likes his gloves nice and tight. I know he's able to win this, as well as Sam Willoughby, who hasn't lost a lap all day, going hard down that first straight. Then next to Willoughby, we have the machine, Maris STROMBERGS, who lane 1, which, you know, historically he doesn't necessarily pick lane 1. He has picked the outsides, but I think he's working on a little bit of a different strategy, and I think he's feeling confident to pick lane 1, which is good. Maris is here to race, as well as everyone else. There's definitely a lot of horsepower on the inside. That could lead to something if those guys trip each other up. Some of the other guys might swing around on the outside, but you never know. It could be anyone's race.
So here we go with the main event for the elite men at stop number 3 of the UCI BMX Supercross World Cup. Let the gate fall.
They're off to a clean start. Looks like Willoughby got the pop. Maris is trying to come in. Few extra power pedals, and he jumps into the first turn in first, holding out Daudet. Daudet is in second. Oh, passing into first, but he cases, so Maris is riding clean, and then Graff into second place again. So one of those guys got tripped up, and Graff is in second. Looks like Willoughby in third. So Strombergs, it's not over yet. Graff is smart down these straightaways and in the corners. Looks like Willoughby might be in a little bit of trouble with the magician fighting for third, but it's going to be Strombergs, Graff, and Ramirez edging out Willoughby. Again, shifty in those corners. He is over the moon. He's so happy to get third.
So Maris Strombergs, unbelievable. Didn't start the day off so good, but he finishes the day off. And look at this race into turn 1. Strombergs and Daudet, they're clean. They're right next to each other. It looks all good. Unfortunately for Daudet, a little bit of a case. He goes down. That lets Strombergs stretch out his lead. David Graff's in second, and Sam Willoughby's in third right here, going down this third straightaway. But as we said, Carlos Ramirez, the little magician, made the magic happen, passes Willoughby at the line, and he's on the podium. But right now, what can you say about Maris Strombergs? A lot of people question, he hasn't been racing as much. He said his goal was to go to that third Olympic Games and have a shot for the win. And if today's any indication, as we said, this track is a replica of Rio. Maris put a stamp on his program, going out, taking the victory today here in front of the crowd in Papendal, the Netherlands. What an incredible race from number 81 from Latvia, Maris Stromberg, taking the victory. David Graff, second place, his best result so far. And we can see Joris Daudet, who had gone down, is now riding off the track. So that's definitely good to see. But that's not the way he wanted his day to end. You wanted to end like how right there Maris Strombergs did, taking the victory overall today in the Elite Men's main event here from stop number 3, the UCI BMX Supercross World Cup Tour. The champion of the day, Maris Strombergs, number 81 from Latvia. So Maris will make his way into that interview zone, and you can see Ramirez getting the love from his fans. Third place, what an accomplishment from the youngster from Colombia today here. As we said, he's made the podium position here before, made the main event here before in Papendal, and today he gets on that podium. What a great run for Carlos Ramirez. So great racing here for the elite men. We had to one-up the elite women with that come-from-behind win from Laura Smulders, but what a great run from Maris Strombergs. Joris Daudet was right there. Unfortunately, he goes down. David Graff in second. Carlos Ramirez takes that third place overall. Let's get a word from Maris Strombergs as he makes his way into the finishing zone.
So we're here with the winner of Elite Men, two-time Olympic gold medalist, Maris Strombergs. I think that was just sheer will. You made it happen. Tell us about that lap.
Can't complain, obviously. Maybe didn't have the best gate, but you know, it's all about putting together solid laps, having the best lap time, and you gotta earn that lane 1, and that's what I did, and anyway, and it helped me this time.
Well, that was an awesome race. The crowd definitely loved it. Great race. I know this is gonna help going into the rest of the season. What do you say?
You know what? Maybe I'm not the fastest guy week in and week out, but I'm confident I can still win some big races, and that's all I gotta say. And Papendal was one of the main goals this year.
Well, you achieved that goal, and the crowd loved it. Good job.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
So Maris Strombergs, as he just noted, he had a few races on his checklist to make great performances at. Papendal was, I'm sure, the first of 3. And so far, he's got that list checked off. Maris Strombergs, the winner here today at the UCI BMX Supercross World Cup in Papendal. Great result from him. There's your official results list. Strombergs, Graff, Ramirez, Willoughby, TREIMANIS, BLANC, Dean, and Joris Daudet, after battling it out for the win, will go down and gets 8th place. So great racing there, Jason. Incredible to see Maris be able to turn it on at any given time, and he said so, he did it.
Yeah, that was, you know, and that's, you know, that's an interesting thing about Maris. He's very real with where he is and quite open. He said he's not necessarily the fastest at every race, but he's confident he could win, and that's what he did. So Ramirez getting, maybe trying to have a conversation with one of the ladies, giving him the flowers. That'll be your 3rd place finisher. Graff in 2nd with a very strong finish, very tactical rider. And then there you have Maris Strombergs, Olympic champ and champ of Papendal.
So definitely a good run there from Maris Strombergs. A good battle all the way into turn 1. Sam Willoughby was up there as well. Unfortunately, sometimes we had those 3 standouts of the day. It was Strombergs, Willoughby, and Daudet. Willoughby will get 4th, Daudet 8th, but it's all about Maris Strombergs taking the victory. David Graff in 2nd, Carlos Ramirez in that 2nd place today. So great run for those 3.
Yeah, it was a good race. Everyone was racing to win, and I mean racing for 1st place. So it made it a really exciting final. Big win for Maris, and really just making the main is just at a race like this, moving closer to the World, closer to the Olympics. You know, rounding out this season. This is like I said, this is kind of one of the classic bigger races on the Supercross circuit. So when people come here, you know, I liken it to winning a Daytona. It's not the final, but it's definitely one of those big ones you want to win.
So here's our overall rankings, and things would shake up just a little bit because you see Carlos Ramirez jump into second overall. Corbin Charras still holds on that lead. Joris Daudet still up there in third. David Graff now moves into fourth overall. Renault Blanc, Ezekiel Torres. Nick Long slides back to seventh. He was in second. And Maris STROMBERGS jumps up into the top 8. So a lot of things going on. We have 2 rounds left. It'll be interesting to see. Liam Phillips, our 2-time Supercross champion, sits in that 9th place spot. Kyle Evans is now slipped into 10th. So we move over to the ladies' sides. Caroline Buchanan, a first second, is definitely going to give her a good points lead, and she has that. But now Laura Smulders has catapulted herself into second overall. Simone Christian's still there, and you saw Mariana Pajón was unable to compete this weekend. A crash over in earlier practice. She didn't race, so she slides down in those overall rankings as well. So great racing here this weekend. Incredible run so far in those first 3 stops of the World Cup. Jason, what's your highlight of the day?
Oh, highlight of the day. There's so many. You know, Caroline, you know, going for it in the main event, not having jumped that triple into the first turn. She sends it, you know, takes it upstairs. You know, Maris, it's always nice to see Maris win the big races and turn it on when you can. But at the end of the day, you know, this is just a great facility, great race, and I'm just happy to witness it.
All right, well, thanks so much for tuning in to stop number 3 of the UCI BMX Supercross World Cup Tour. I'm Pete Deluski. That was Jason Richardson. We come back in a few months with stop number 4 in Rock Hill, South Carolina, United States. We look forward to seeing you then. Thanks so much for tuning in.
Thank you very much.